So as you can see here, I made this object, this checkbox here, a listener to the clicks that the user make. So whenever that they actually click on this checkbox, this method is going to be called set onClick listener. Okay, so inside of this onClick method, I can just put in my own codes. So first of all, I want to actually create an if statement, and inside the parenthesis, I can just type in chx healthy yes dot is checked. So now I need to actually open and close this if statement by using these curly braces. So now what's going on? As you can see here, first of all, I created an if statement, okay? And inside the parenthesis of this if statement, I specified a condition. First, I actually referred to the name of this chx healthy yes object, as you can see here, okay? So, and then I actually called this is checked method on this object. So this method actually returns a Boolean value, okay, true or false. So as you can see here, when I actually check this checkbox here, now as you can see, the value of this checkbox is true, okay? And when I actually check off this checkbox, the value of this checkbox is false, okay? So that's the job of this method. When I actually call this is checked method on this chx healthy yes object, I am actually specifying the value of this checkbox, okay? So if I actually check this checkbox, and if the value of this checkbox is on, now this method actually returns the value true. But if I actually check off this checkbox, now this method actually returns the value false, okay? Because I actually checked off this checkbox, okay? So this method actually returns a Boolean value, true or false. And that value is actually determined by actually checking on or checking off this checkbox, okay? So here I am actually specifying that if the returned value of this checkbox is true, if this checkbox is on, okay, or if the value of this checkbox is true, now I can actually put in my own codes inside of this if statement. chx healthy no. So now I am actually referring to the name of this object, chx healthy no object, to the name of this checkbox here, okay? chx healthy no dot set checked false, okay? So when I actually check this checkbox, so if the value of this checkbox is true, the value of this checkbox must be false, okay? So that's why I actually created this if statement here, okay? Here I am actually specifying that if the value of this checkbox is true, the value of this checkbox must be false, okay? So for example, imagine that I actually checked this checkbox here, and now as you can see, I created a set onClick listener for this chx healthy yes object, okay? So now as you can see, the value of this checkbox is true, okay? I actually checked this checkbox, and now if I actually check this checkbox, as you can see, the value of this, and now if I actually check this checkbox, the value of this checkbox must be false. So let's actually run our project and test this code, okay? Okay, as you can see, now our application is actually running on this emulator. So here, let's actually check this checkbox here. As you can see, let's check this checkbox. And here, as you can see, I actually made this checkbox a listener to the clicks that the user make. Okay, and inside this onClick method, I actually created an if statement, and then I actually referred to the name of this checkbox, and then I called this is checked method on this object, and this method returns a Boolean value, true or false. If the value of this checkbox is true, this method returns the value true, and if the value of this checkbox is false, this method actually returns the value false. And here I am telling that if the value of this checkbox is true, if I actually click on this checkbox, and this checkbox returns the value true to me, and then I can actually execute this line of code here, chx healthy no dot set checked false. So this means that this checkbox is going to be checked off. Okay, so let's actually check this checkbox here. As you can see now, this checkbox is actually checked off. Okay, So hopefully that makes sense. So now let's actually make this checkbox a listener to the clicks that the user make, because now if I actually click on this checkbox here, now as you can see, these two checkboxes are checked on. So let's actually create a set and click listener for this checkbox. And here after this set and click listener for this chx healthy yes, I can actually refer to the name of this chx healthy no object dot set on click listener new view dot on click listener. Now as you can see, I can inside this on click method, I can actually put my own codes. So if chx healthy no dot is checked, inside the curly braces I can put my own codes. chx healthy yes dot set checked false. Okay, again I am actually making this object, this checkbox, a listener to the clicks that the user make. And then I am inside this onClick method, I created an if statement. And here I am telling the computer that if the value of this checkbox is true, if the returned value of this checkbox is true, or if this checkbox is on, and then inside the curly braces, please execute this line of code here. chx healthy yes, so this object must be checked off. Okay, the value of this checkbox must be off. Okay, must be false. So let's actually run our project and test our code. Okay, as you can see now our application is actually running on this emulator here. And here, if I actually check this checkbox here, now as you can see, the value of this checkbox is true. Okay, and if I actually check this checkbox, let's see what happens. Now as you can see, the value of this checkbox is true and the value of this checkbox is false. Let's actually check this checkbox again. Now the value of this checkbox is true and the value of this checkbox is false. So hopefully that makes sense. And let's go back inside this main activity.java file here, and inside this onCreate method, let's actually continue adding some more codes. Okay, now let's actually create a Boolean variable, Boolean, am I healthy? Okay, and then I put an assignment operator here, and then I can actually assign a value to this variable, for example, false. Okay, so now let's actually create an if statement here. Okay, so if, and then inside the parentheses, I can specify a condition. So if am I healthy? Okay, if am I healthy, and then I need to actually open and close this if statement by using these curly braces. So as you can see here, inside these parentheses, I am actually specifying that if the value of this am I healthy is true, then I can actually put my own statements inside of this if statement. If the value of this am I healthy Boolean variable is true, so now you can see the value of this Boolean variable is false. Okay, and here inside the parentheses of this if statement, I am specifying that if the value of this am I healthy Boolean variable is true, then please execute the lines of code that are inside of this if statement. So here I can just type in chx healthy yes dot set checked true. Okay, so now let's actually run our project and see what happens. Okay, as you can see here, now our application is actually running on this emulator. And as you can see here, none of these checkboxes are checked. Okay, because I specified that if the value of this am I healthy variable is true, then execute these lines of code inside this if statement. Okay, so remember, let me actually tell you an important point about Boolean variables in Java. So here, as you can see, I just referred to the name of this Boolean variable. And this means that if the value of this Boolean variable is true, then execute these lines of code here. Okay, so now let's actually create an else if statement here. Else if the value of this am I healthy variable is not true. Okay, so I put this exclamation mark here in order to negate the value of this Boolean variable. Okay, so if the value of this am I healthy variable is not true, then it is false. Okay, so as a result, it is false. Okay, Then execute the lines of code inside of these curly braces. chx healthy no dot set checked true. Okay, and this means check this checkbox here, this no checkbox. So let's actually run our project and see what happens.